Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sitting in the Hyundai Kona Electric. First I would like to show you something from the interior. Some drive modes. This is for Eco, Sport and Comfort. It only changes the way from the gas pedal feel. Not the suspension, heated steering wheel, auto hold. Park brake or park distance control, heated seats, ventilated seats too. Leather seats. This version, this is this 64 kilowatt hour battery Kona with 204 horsepower and 395 kilowatt hours. No. 395 Newton meters of torque. So one important thing is there is much space for the storage over here, and also some space in the glove box. What else? Let's start the car for a moment. Music in the air. This is the cockpit. It has started with a range of 380 something kilometers on a full charge, and that's quite realistic, I guess. By WLTP on the Hyundai web page it shows they say it has a complete range for 449 kilometers. Just one thing important, and like usual in electric cars, the brake pedal is a brake-by-wire pedal. So it means there is no hydraulic connection between the brake and the pedal, of a very clear reason, because when you brake, and in that case, if the car would have a hydraulic connection to the brake pedal, with the regen braking, it would also always feel a bit like wobbling, pumping. So it feels a bit uncomfortable or odd. So that's why in electric cars all you can get is only the brake-by-wire pedal, which means it just has electronical connection just to the board computer, and from the board computer hydraulic to the brakes. The outside, or let's take a look in the rear. I am 1.83 meters tall. There is still some space left. I wouldn't directly like to sit behind me. As you see, my knees are like that. I'm 1.83 meters, which is 6 foot. Headroom, yeah, there is still, hope you can see, some space left. But this is, yeah, I wouldn't like to sit here right behind me for 10 kilometers or anything else. That's quite punishment. So this is not a family car. Boot space, 331 liter, is also not that big. There is a bit of smuggler space under here. Most important thing, charger. You can charge it here in the front, which is, in my opinion, the best solution. Just Jaguar or the new Audi e-tron will have charging socket here on the side. The Mercedes EQC will have the charging socket behind here, which is quite uncomfortable, in my opinion. So let's take the car for the ride. Is it holding? Yes, it is. So, start. Music in the air. The good thing is, when I'm in park and I open the door, the car doesn't make stupid noises like my leaf does. Because my leaf is always in alarm when I open the door when the car is still on, even if it's parking or not. So, drive mode. So this car has still standard tires, not winter tires. So let's put it in sport and try to accelerate a bit. Wheel spin, a bit of torque vectoring. Ui, ui, ui. From 0 to 100 it is able to go in 7.6 seconds. Enough to have some fun, but I wish the torque vectoring would have been a bit better. The suspension is, as you might feel or hear, a bit rough, a bit stiff. The gas pedal or the power pedal is a bit sensitive. I adjusted it to the regen braking to the maximum, but when I get the foot off the pedal it brakes, but it still goes and goes and goes. It don't brake totally to 0 kilometers. So the last meters you always have to push the brake pedal. That's different in the Leaf. In the Leaf, the so-called e-pedal drive will stop it totally till 0. The steering wheel is looking nice. It's leather, but there's already here, but I guess you cannot see it, just a little scratch, and it feels also a bit slippery, so it's not that comfortable. So in that case you feel like you have to drive with leather gloves or something. The steering itself is not too direct. It's quite good. So it's following your lead, but it's not, yeah, some kind of edgy. So there's no sports car feeling. The suspension will give you a bit of sports car feeling. And from the suspension it's not that comfortable, really. At last it's not spine shattering. The good thing is there is a cover, I will show you one moment, for the onboard camera, but you are still able to see the traffic lights, so it's not that big. And one thing I have to say about cars with a front camera, they usually have a black box that will, in case of an accident, record the last 10 or 30 seconds of your action or no action. Some dealers don't know, some dealers don't tell you, but it is quite usual. The Leaf has a data record. In case of an accident, it will record or save the last 10 seconds. The Jaguar I-Pace, the dealer said it hasn't a data record, but it has. I've been reading the online manual because I was too curious about that. And it will also record the last 30 seconds. And also the Mitsubishi Outlander has a front camera, will record the data. So in that case you can prove if you're right. wrong. The gas pedal doesn't, or power pedal is very sensitive, doesn't matter if it's in eco or comfort or sport. It seems like it's just changing the acceleration, the anger mode of the car. So the Kona Electric is somehow more the sporty type of SUV, or micro SUV, or I wouldn't call it an SUV. SUV is standing for sports utility vehicle, but I don't see much of the utility because it is quite small. One thing I don't want to forget is to talk about the seats. Seats are electric, adjustable in 8 ways, and it has a lumbar support, which is quite important for me personally. The Leaf doesn't have it, which is quite weird for when you keep in your mind that the Leaf, my Leaf, had cost 35,000 euros. The Kona Electric starts at the sticker price including tax with 39,000 euro for the basic version. I don't know, and you have to make sure what you want or keep in mind. I don't know if the Kona has will this go or not? At last. A heat pump which will save some energy in winter, which is important for your range if you are living in a country where you have a winter. If you're living in South Africa or somewhere else where it's hot all the time, on the Bahamas or wherever you want, you don't need a heat pump. This is the last thing you need in the Kona Electric. But usually when you have a cold winter, you want a heat pump because it will save some energy in winter time. Without a heat pump, the Kona would, or every electric car, will just turn electricity into heat, and a heat pump will also get some heat from other elements or power using elements. So in that case it will change or save some energy and keep up your range a bit longer. There's still 369 kilometers of range left, just according to my driving style. The heater is still on, so I guess this Kona with this equipment has a heat pump. Top speed of the car is 167, if you are allowed to drive that fast. It just depends on where you live. You feel every bump, but at last it's not spine shattering, it's not totally uncomfortable, but yeah. Okay, I have to admit I've been driving a Hyundai Tucson, built in 2009, for almost 9 years, and the comfortable suspension has never been an option for Hyundai. They have always been a bit more sporty at last when it's about the suspension. Acceleration is very good. Unfortunately, the streets are dry. I really would love to test it on a wet and slippery surface. It's better to see how a car really reacts. It's always better to check or test a car in not so good conditions. These conditions of the road are almost ideal. It's dry, it's sunny, just too perfect for a proper test ride, actually. The dangerous thing about electric cars, it's easy to get a ticket for speeding. Because you don't hear an engine sound, or the sound is always the same sound, and it just the Kona or the e-Niro or the Leaf or the Jaguar I-Pace or the Mercedes EQC or the Audi e-tron, they all only have one gear. Okay, if there is a gear change in a Tesla, you wouldn't recognize it anyway. But a Tesla has two gears, and also the upcoming Porsche Taycan will also have two gears, and that's why some people complain, especially the Tesla heads, because Jaguar I-Pace needs 26 kilowatt hours on the motorway with driving 130 instead of 22 kilowatt hours of the Tesla. They blame the not the electronic, what rubbish. No, they blame the aerodynamic, but it is because of the gears. The Tesla has two gears, the Jaguar I-Pace only one. Just like the Kona, which means on higher speed it will need, of course, more electricity than usual. Somebody is afraid about the height. But in a normal petrol-fueled car, especially with a manual gear shift, you know, this is the gear I am in, this is the noise the car makes, so this is round about 50 kilometers or whatever. You will recognize it just by the sound and the gear you are in, and you don't have this in an electric car, so you have to look to the speedo more often just to make sure you don't get a ticket for speeding. By itself is quite silent, but you hear a lot of noises from the tires. That's not as nice as it could have been. If you have any questions about the Kona, don't be shy to ask in the comments. I hope I explained everything that's that you would like to know. Tomorrow I will get a Kia e-Niro for a test ride. Will also take a video too. So that's it for today. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.